These are my top 6 yoga poses for back health, and I'm going to guide you through them. So you're going to start on your hands and knees, stacking your shoulders over your wrists, your hips over your knees. Spread the fingers wide on the floor. We're going to do cat pose and cow pose, two separate poses that often work together. Inhale a breath. As you exhale, lift the pelvic floor, activate the lower abdominals, and round the spine, starting at the lower back, then the middle back, then the upper back. This is cat pose. You're pressing the floor down through the palms. You're trying to lift the center of the back to the ceiling, letting the head and the tail drop. As you inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the waist, and pull the chest forward through the arms, coming into cow pose. So the chest is reaching forward, the hips are reaching back, so you're lengthening through the spine, creating more of an upper back bend. As you exhale, lift the pelvic floor, activate the lower abdominals, and round one vertebra at a time, coming into cat pose. This is a nice way to strengthen the front of the body and open the back of the body. And then inhale, reverse into cow pose, moving one vertebra at a time. Pulling the rib cage forward, hips reach back, lifting up out of the shoulders, creating length in the spine and opening, strengthening in the upper back. Exhale, round through the lower back, through the middle back, through the upper back, coming back to cat. One more time, release into cow pose, moving one vertebra at a time from the tailbone to the top of the head. And then just release back into child's pose. Take a moment to rest. Coming back up into table, step your right foot forward to a lunge, bringing the knee over the ankle, and the hands can be on the floor. Maybe the hands are on blocks on either side of your right foot. Spread the toes wide on the floor and really press the right foot into the floor. Activate the left glutes and use them to press the hips forward, pressing the left foot into the floor as well. And you'll feel a nice opening in the front of the left hip. Coming into low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Lifting through the chest, and you can stay just as you are. Maybe the hands come to the right thigh and you press the chest away from the thigh, creating a little more space in the front of that left hip. Shoulders relax out of the ears, neck is long. The hip flexors attached to the lower back, so oftentimes if you sit for a long time, the lower back can be tight when you stand up because the hip flexors are sort of tugging on that lower back. And then lower the hands back to the floor. Straighten the right leg. We're going to come into a half split. The hands are walking underneath the shoulders. Again, they might be on blocks. They might be on the floor. Feel the heel pressing forward as the right hip reaches back. Think of the sit bone at the base of the pelvis reaching back away from the heel. And then bend the knee just a little bit. You want to activate the quads in the front of the thigh as you lengthen the leg. And you'll feel this nice hamstring stretch in the back of the leg. Again, if you tend to sit all the time, the hamstrings can get tight. And then when you go to stand up, they sort of tuck the pelvis, and that over time can strain the lower back. So keeping that nice straight spine here, you'll feel the hamstring stretch. Maybe you're just working to straighten the leg, and that's fine too. We'll take it to the other side. Stepping the left foot forward into a lunge. Again, hands might be up on blocks. They might be on the floor. The knee is over the ankle, and you're activating the right glutes as you press the hips forward, and this helps you open up through the front of the hip. Lifting through the chest, lengthening through the spine. Stay here, or bring the hands to the left thigh, pressing the chest away from the thigh, just creating a little bit more verticality in the pelvis and the spine, a little more opening in the front of the right hip. Feel the feet pressing into the floor. It's a very active pose. Take another inhale. Exhale. And release the hands down. Straighten the left leg as far as it'll go. Try not to round the spine. If you round the spine, it's usually due to a tight hamstring. Bend the knee and then work to lengthen the spine. Find a nice flat back, and then from the flat back, work to straighten the leg, and you'll really isolate that hamstring stretch a little bit more. When the hamstrings are tight, it tends to pull the pelvis under. You're working to stretch the hamstrings. So you want a nice long spine, nice flat back as much as you can. And again, you might be higher on blocks. That's helpful. Breathing into the hamstring stretch. Breathing out. Take another deep breath in. Exhale. And then we're going to stand up. Bringing your feet parallel, hip distance apart. Grab the right wrist with the left hand and take a little side bend to the left. Pressing down through that right foot, reaching out through the right palm. This is a nice way to open up in the lower back. Feel the hips over the ankles. Lift the right ribs up away from the right hip and melt to the left. Shoulders relax. Feet are pressing into the floor. Come back to vertical. We'll take it to the other side. Grabbing the left wrist with the right hand and side bend right. Feel the left foot pressing into the floor as you reach out through the left palm, opening through the side body. This is a nice stretch for the deep muscles of the lower back as well as the erector muscles. Take another inhale. Exhale. And then coming back to vertical. The last pose. Coming down onto the floor for bridge pose. This is to strengthen the glutes and find a nice upper back bend. Feel the feet on the floor, knees over the ankles. Keep the pelvis just as it is, a little bit of space under the lower back, and lift the pelvic floor and the lower abdominals. Press down through the feet as you lift through the hips, and you're activating the glutes here. When you have strong glutes, it takes the pressure off your lower back. Feel the tailbone lengthening forward. Feel the chest rising toward the chin, and you can stay just as you are, or interlace the fingers. And walk the shoulders toward each other underneath the body, creating a little upper back bend. This is a nice relief if you tend to slouch a lot. Get the shoulder blades to squeeze toward each other and down the back. Feel the tailbone, feel the glutes working. Try to lift through the pelvic floor and the lower abdominals, activating your core. Breathing here to open the chest. Just let the head be heavy on the floor. One more inhale. Exhale, release, roll down, upper back, middle back, lower back. Hug the knees into the chest, and then roll over onto one side and come up to sit. And those are my 6 favorite poses to help the lower back.